And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Grade A Fantasy Fan Duel DFS. We are here to preview the Week 2 lineup on what the running backs look like for the Week 2 main slate on FanDuel. And as you see by the cover sheet, like I said, some of these guys were on single games. It is pretty much the return of the big dogs. So takes 2 weeks, but we got pretty much most of them here with us. I mean, no, there's no Bijan this week, but the typical running backs you could technically say of the old school before the new school takeover. We still got guys like Gibbs up here, whatever the case is. But just like how just like how the cover sheet has Barkley, Henry, CMC, those are the top three. 9,100 Barkley, 9,000 Henry, 89,000 Christian McCaffrey. It's pretty much take your pick here. You can pretty much say like, yeah, it's a tougher defense with KC, but Saquon, Derrick Henry should be able to have more success than what Chase Brown did last week, and Christian McCaffrey. Hey, he was somewhat neutralized on the ground, but once again, that's why he's so great at fantasy, because he made up for it and still scored almost 20 without a touchdown. If he has a touchdown, he's probably the best number one on running back for the main slate last week. All he needed was a touchdown. But pretty much with these top three, you have, the pick of the litter. But if you ask me what it is, I'm going to say undecided as of yet. He's trending towards playing, but I'll definitely feel a little bit different if Purdy somehow is ruled out with his toe and shoulder injury. By the way, the shoulder is his non-throwing shoulder. So really the toe is the issue for the 49ers right now. And then of course with Kittle out, then you're hoping to see what Mac Jones could do. I'm pretty sure Mac Jones will forcefully try to get it to CMC and give it to CMC more would make him viable. But now with a backup quarterback, you're pretty much going to see if Mac Jones can throw into coverage as you bottle all one-on-ones, if he could bottle up, if the defense can bottle up CMC. That's the way obviously I would play it. But nevertheless, have to wait for injury reports and we'll see where we go from there. As we keep going down though, significant drop. After those three are together, as you can see, 91, 9,089. You save basically 7 to 900 going to Jahmyr Gibbs. Once again, this is a week where I'm going to keep trending the term bounce back, and he's actually my favorite play. Even though he's not on my cover sheet, he's my favorite play this week. I love Jahmyr Gibbs at 8,300 against Chicago. I mean, home against Chicago. And he does have in his short-term career, in his couple of years, he does have good games where he has multiple touches. Just in case, does he get the touchdown or not? I also believe in Devon A-Chain this week. 7,800. You know how I feel about the Dolphins at home, and after that embarrassment, offense should be on full go, playing with a little more muster and something to prove from last week. So him at 78. I definitely love him. Like Gibbs and McCaffrey, if they somehow get shut down on the ground, without a doubt he's going to get his targets through the air. Miami got the ass whooped last week, but guess what? He scored his garbage touchdown through the air. That's what we're worried about. Yes, we have to think about the defense, but it's offense that's all about fantasy, and he definitely has the opportunity to bounce back. And then my second favorite play behind Gibbs, I'm going to keep touting him again. I mean, he only got a touchdown last week. Trey Benson pretty much had a impact on the game, but I still like James Conner against Carolina. A hard runner like James Conner should definitely have a better game than how he had against New Orleans, who pretty much played overachieving defense last week. But after what Travis Etienne did, I believe James Conner should be able to be pushing maybe 70, 80 yards, maybe even get a 100-yard game. And this time, instead of getting a shovel pass as a touchdown, probably get that rushing touchdown. So definitely like Conner right there. Everything else from here, fair price and paydowns. Chase Brown, he's another one that should have a backup week against Jacksonville. Breece Hall, surprisingly, who looked great against Pittsburgh, should look great. I understand Breece Hall is not Derrick Henry, but I really do think that there's a possibility that Breece Hall coming out of the backfield and in the running game, can have a solid game against Buffalo. Let's see if that Buffalo defense is subject to the run. Like I said, he's a threat. He's not a Derrick Henry threat, but Brees Hall is a pretty talented back. Remember, the conflict about Brees Hall this year was it was supposed to go to other Jet running backs for the role. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, Braylon Allen, who did get a touch here and there, was supposed to pretty much dominate, but that definitely was not the case. It definitely wasn't the case. He definitely loved what he saw. Jets definitely loved what they saw, so I see definitely that continuing. I don't see any drop off in production there as we keep going down the line. On that other side of the game, you could definitely like James Cook against the Jets' run defense. That's also an option, but obviously also Travis Etienne. He's another one. Tanks Bigsby. There was a couple of rookies drafted. Him and Brees Hall basically the same. Big, huge question marks about what their role in the offense would be. Would they be traded by October trade deadline? Well, pretty much no, not so fast as of yet. 6,700 for Travis Etienne. Just because of his workload, you can never ignore Chuba Hubbard. He seems like the only decent benefactor in a struggling Carolina defense. So get there early before at least that offense at least somewhat improves. Because when that ball is being moved, he is your base 12.6, 14, 15 point whatever. And then when they're booming, he's a 20 plus running back easy. Even with some production coming out of the backfield on a swing pass. And another one of my favorite plays, yes, it was big to watch the way the Cowboys played. And yeah, when they're in the goal line, they're going to give it to Javonte. He still a young, strong, big back, former Bronco. Had two, I'm pretty sure what was it? It was two inside the fives, pretty much two inside the threes. And, if there's one thing you could never talk crap about it, that Dallas offensive line. So if the Cowboys and they shouldn't have much to worry about now. The Giants front four, like I said, the strength is in the front seven, but it's really the front four. This ain't like a Tampa Bay kind of thing where it's a great front four with a solid linebacker corner. It's a great front seven and they're a pass funnel. No, the strength of the Giants is the front four. But if that big offensive line can at least open some holes for Javonte, and then of course Dak could find, his top receivers, CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson and the rest of the receiving core, and then move it down the field. That's what you're pretty much relying on. If he could get, once again, even if it's just one at 6,300, he's the bell cow for that team. He gets one or two goal line carries or whatever close in. You're definitely gonna love that. As we keep going down, this is the week you might want to try Pollard. I like it better this week than last week. It's just as tough as matchup as it was that front four. I mean that front seven. The Los Angeles Rams even has a very solid front seven. That is a very good. They've done a great job in drafting right, and obviously you could never replace a legend like Aaron Donald, but they definitely, without a doubt, have a solid front four and a nice young core of the front seven, whether they're in a 3-4 or 4-3. But remember, Tony Pollard is going to get all the work, almost 20 touches. So if he got 20 touches there and got a 7.4, remember, he's still the safety valve for Cam Ward. This is going to be another tough matchup for Cam Ward. So you have to remember Tajay Spears out for the first 4 weeks. Everything is going to Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is an option this week, so definitely don't sleep on him. It is a tough matchup, but I definitely love Tony Pollard more this week than I did last week. If we keep going down, we got Jaylen Warren, who is the man. He just shows so much more explosivity than what Najee Harris did for the past 3-4 years. Love Jaylen Warren, and Aaron Rodgers does not have an issue hitting him out the backfield. That's pretty much how he scored his touchdown. Even though that was definitely more of an up and down game in a slightly tougher matchup. That Seattle defense is not bad at all. So at home, I definitely see something where Warren being more a part of the game. He'd probably have a Tony Pollard-esque type workload. 16 into the high teens, close to that 20 touches, but we'll have to wait and see. And then as we keep going down here, not my favorite paydowns. I think we just passed a couple of my favorite paydowns, aka J. Will, Pollard, and Warren. If you want me to put in order, it's J. Will, Warren, then Pollard. Once again, that Rams defense is no joke. But as we get down to the 53s, he did get some work. So this is definitely something. This is definitely something to, look at. And he was getting passes out the backfield, more of a third down kind of person, but wasn't too far off from the snaps and touches. And then New England does have, like I said, it's a tougher matchup because, like I said, but I do like Travion Henderson because he's not going to start. He's going to be splitting those matches, so he won't be as winded as probably Ramondre starting the game. But if anything, and if it's like what I like, if the Dolphins are ahead, which is what I think is going to happen, I think Trayvon's a sneaky GPP play, getting not only just fourth quarter time, but if that game gets out of hand fast, look for him to start getting those touches in the third and getting a lot of drop back and passes out and possibly get a touchdown late. Remember, somebody that's sharing and coming off the bench is not going to be as tired as somebody that's going to start and get the first 2 carries during the game. So what I think, I actually feel that could be the game script. I like the Dolphins to get up early, be up by a couple touchdowns, maybe even 17, and then third, fourth quarter, hey, Ramondre, we don't throw you the ball at all. And it's going to be totally Travion Henderson. And then once in a while, you might drop Travion onto the bench for either a fifth wideout, or you might bring in Ramondre just to, if you're in a 2-minute offense, hey, we need this short yardage, let's get this first down and, get you back out. That's where I like Travion. He's a dart throw this week because he has the work ethic, and he has the possible. That's a route where he can definitely have any people that want to pick Ramondre Stevenson. Those lineups will be dead, and Travion's a sneaky, late touchdown kind of pick, and because of what he does during the game, and maybe that 2-minute drive, 12.6, 13.6, maybe even touch 15 running and catching the ball. Now that FanDuel's 0.5 per reception. And then the guy who definitely hurt some of my lineups, we'll get to him right now. Wait, I think we passed him. Yes, we did. Where is this man? Dylan Sampson. The man had Jerome Ford score 1 point something points. And Dylan Sampson definitely showed something. And it wasn't like, oh, Jerome Ford's the vet, let's rest him. No, that game was close the entire day. And he ended up with 12 and then 8 targets. Just totally took over. So now the Browns do have a tougher matchup with Baltimore. But, I mean, after what I saw last week, I don't think I want to touch Jerome Ford for the rest of the year until he gets hurt. So I don't know. It's can't take everything. Like I said, if I'm somebody that definitely played season longer than DFS, and I normally don't panic about my roster until like week 3 until you get like a decent sample size of things. Week 3 going into 4, but for Jerome Ford to be expected to be a total workhorse, and then to only have 1 point compared to Dylan Sampson's 13.3, and then here's another thing: we have a Washington Commanders type situation. Because if I'm not mistaken, this is also an offense that's waiting for, I think they're waiting for another run. Yes, Quinshawn Junkins. If he's not back week 2, then he's back week 3. And it's a rookie that they highly touted on. It's just going to be even more confusing. But if he just got the deal signed a little while ago, I think Quinshawn Junkins is the 3, Jerome Ford is the 2, and I think Dylan Sampson's easily the 1. But it down the line is definitely going to be a committee, so watch out for that. But other than that, that is the end of the running back preview. So, as I've told you, favorite pay-ups. I have no problem with the top 3 at all. No issue with the top 3. But when it gets close to the pay-ups, and like I said, you can save, depending on from McCaffrey, anywhere from $600 to $900. I love Gibbs, A-Chain, Connor this week, even though, yes, I will get some exposure to these guys up here. So I consider those pay-ups in mid-range. And then when it comes to the pay downs, I think my favorite pay downs are as follows. Even though it's kind of close to 7, I don't think I'll go with Travis Etienne. And I don't think I'll go to Travis Etienne. I don't. I don't think I can consider Travis Etienne. Maybe Chuba, but yeah, when it comes to pay down, it's definitely, like I said, in the order: J. Will, Warren, and then Pollard. That is what I like most. That is the end of the running back preview episode. Thanks for tuning in. This is Grade A Fantasy signing off.